Oh,
Hey friends, welcome to this week's episode of Dead Funny University. I am your host and fellow student Kelsey, and we are learning about the killers in Dead by Daylight this week. Obviously, our host is Chris, who is, I think, our resident Dead by Daylight, champion? Is that the appropriate word? You bring it up a lot, you beg me to play it a lot. I feel like you are the champion of Dead by Daylight.
As far as rankings go, I'm definitely a higher ranking than anybody else I currently play with, yes.
Ooh, I feel like the gauntlet was just thrown. If you know Chris, be better.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens every fucking Saturday at 10 p.m. Fucking come see. I shit on everybody that we know and everybody that's ever been on the channel. So, yeah, it happens. So, it is what it is.
All right, so are you going to introduce me to these killers?
Yes, let's get into the killers. Super excited about this. So, we will start off the board here with our buddy, the Trapper, which I don't think I have his original face on, which doesn't really matter. He's the fucking thing of the game.
That face is gnarly, the one he currently has. My gosh.
Yeah, I know, right? It's awesome. So, this is the Trapper.
Mm-hmm.
This is a original killer by Dead by Daylight, or Behavior Studios, whatever you want to say. What I'm going to give you is the observer little thing that he says about each one of the characters, because I think some of them are really, really interesting. And then we'll do just their current lore, not their background stories. Once again, if you guys want to see that, comment section below, let us know. And then me and Kelsey can do more deeper dives on the killers at a different time and do full-on lores, so that way we can get there. Anyways, so there's a vast monster of a man with a hideous grin torn across the mask that keeps stalking my every move. Similar to a hunter, he tracks us, priming devastating traps up amongst all the greenery. Extreme vigilance and a light step is essential in avoiding the blood-curdling clinch of a bear trap or the clutches of what I've been calling the miserable, smiling killer. I have but many times managed to get caught in one of these traps. I have nothing but a fear for the feeling of blunt trap spikes grinding against my bones, or for the heavy and deliberate footsteps which always inevitably reveal a plastered, sadistic grin. With the traps and the Trapper, it has so far been a constant battle between looking up and looking down.
Damn, just the phrase, the bit about the bear traps, horrible, but just the phrase heavy, deliberate footsteps makes my spine, retract. Spines don't do that, but...
because they're really good, really good. So yeah, the Trapper's real name is Evan McMillan. Evan McMillan idolized his father. It wasn't just that he was the heir to a great fortune, it was the way he ran the estate. Raised under his firm hand, Evan had taken running the task force with an iron hand. Production was always high, and the McMillan estate prospered under the father and son. As Archie McMillan's mental health slowly disintegrated, Evan protected him from the herd who wanted a piece of his fortune. No matter what his father asked of him, Evan would do. When Archie McMillan finally snapped, Evan became his enforcer in what would become known as the worst mass murder in modern history.
Oof.
Yep. They never proved that Evan led over 100 men in tunnels before detonating the explosives and sealing them to their fate. The tale that the McMillan estate is a tale of wealth and power gone very wrong. How many victims fell to the hands of father and son is unknown. No record is ever made of what became of Evan McMillan. His father is another unsolved puzzle found trapped in the locked basement of his own warehouse, starved and abandoned.
Okay, so murdered a bunch of people with his dad, and then murdered his dad.
Yep, pretty much. And as far as for the outfits, so we'll just kind of do a brief talk about what his base look is. As you can see, he's got a lot of different hooks and stuff sticking out of him. There is lore out there. I didn't get a chance to see how many different people say it's actually canon, so it's kind of in the mix right now that he actually went against the entity, and all these things sticking out are pieces of the entity broken off out of his skin.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, only one of them looks like a meat hook, the one in his shoulder. The rest of them, they look metallic from what I can see, but they don't look Like, they don't
Yep.
look like implements in general.
Yep. So basically, the overall thought process is that the entity finally beat him into submission to do his dirty work for him. And this is
Great.
the trapper. So, like I said, this is the guy who is quote unquote the Jason Voorhees of Dead by Daylight. So that way they wouldn't get sued. He lays bear traps, and this is what he looks like. And then we'll just look at a couple of his high tier costumes. We've got the Krampus,
Oh.
which looks fucking phenomenal, like a little elf hanging out there.
I
It's
love that
great.
he's covered in snow. That's so cool.
I know, right? This is just one of his bone
Ugh.
sets, which also looks pretty cool.
Ugh.
This one's okay. Kind of stupid. Kind of like a welder.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what it is. Nothing too crazy. His luchador skin that they kind of did here.
Yeah,
Almost
they
looks
called
like
it the
Kraven the
circus
Hunter.
or something, and that's honestly kind of cool. Looks a bit
Yeah,
like
we've got
Kratos.
Circus Strongman. There you go. Yeah, Circus Strongman. Yeah, we got a clown in here, and he came with a whole circus pack, so we'll get to him.
Huh.
Under the Sea. This one I like a lot. You've got the fish hook going through the eye. You've got the boat propeller stuck into the shoulder there. All the algae and shit. The shells hanging off of his body.
I do like the shells and the sea plants. That's cool.
Yep.
The ripped guts where you can see like it's either kind of knitting back together or it is just intestines doing their thing. That's nice and gnarly.
Yeah, exactly. This is his miner outfit because, as we know, he killed a whole bunch of miners. That was how his family got wealthy, was the miners. And then a couple of these
Ooh.
cool ones, which these are basically all just variants of each other.
Yeah.
And then the last one would be his welder one. So yeah, he's got a couple cool skins. Nothing too crazy. He's definitely a lot lower on the tier list as far as people who actually pick him to play him.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a lot of people, whenever you see them playing him, it's more along the lines to get like a specific task done, where like you got to catch like 8 people in a bear trap or something. Moving on to the Wraith. This was my favorite first killer when I started playing Dead by Daylight. One of the OGs, one of the originals. This character is really, really cool. Super easy to play. If it's your first time playing Dead by Daylight and you're playing as a killer, probably one of the best pickups because it's very easy to start with. As always, go ahead.
I just have those creepy ass eyes staring directly at me from 2 different screens right now, and I don't like it.
It's great. So there's another apparition more terrifying than anything I've ever seen, hunting amongst the shadows here. It moves like a silhouette, appearing and disappearing at the sound of a dreaded bell. It's impossible to track it. Several times it has caught me without me even seeing it closing in. Often convinced I have my back covered, it has promptly materialized right behind me and behind me to strike from close range. Stay still and watch the fog. Don't move, don't blink, and for God's sake, don't breathe. If you can control your fear long enough and can show self-control, sometimes it is possible to see its shimmer as it glides forward, if caught at just the right light. I pray for your safety.
That is so cool! That sounds awesome!
Yeah.
Halfway through you reading that, I realized that his weapon is a skull on a spine.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Huh.
Yeah, they did really good with these. Yep. So, the Wraith here's real name is Philip Ajimo. So, Philip Ajimo came to this country without anything than hope for a new beginning. He was happy as he got offered a job at Auto Haven Wreckers, a small scrapyard where bribed cops turned a blind eye for somewhat shady business that took place. Ajimo didn't care. He had seen criminal activity up close in his homeland, and as long as he didn't get involved, he let things be. He just fixed cars and handled the crusher. Sometimes he did really well. A car went in and a small metallic cube came out. It was not until one gloomy day that he just by accident saw some blood coming from one of the uncrushed cars. As he opened the trunk, he found a young man gagged with tied hands and panic-filled eyes. Ajimo freed the man, who managed to run 10 feet before Ojimo's boss stopped him and slit his throat. As Ajimo demanded answers, he got explained to him that he'd been nothing more than a simple executioner, as more or less every car had a soul in them, as this was a service the scrapyard provided to certain clients. Ajimo snapped and went ballistic. He
Yeah.
threw his boss into the crusher and let it slowly compress. As the head stuck out, Ajimo grabbed it, pulled the head and the spine out of the body. Then he left and was never seen again. So, a little bit more on this guy, because I'm not going to go too crazy into backstories, but a little bit more on this guy. The Wraith is considered a paranormal entity at this point. Ajimo has died. This is a paranormal entity.
Interesting. Now,
that being said,
go ahead.
The thing with the bell is in his home country, his father gave him a little bell, or it's actually a big bell. It's a pretty big bell. And said, if you're ever in trouble, hit this bell with a stick and people will come in and help you. Their village got taken under attack by a inside force, kind of like, Taliban and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Got taken over by an inside force, and they were slaughtering people everywhere. As a kid, he sneaks up on these guys at a campfire and pours gasoline all over them, and then kicks it into the fire and runs, burning all of them alive as a kid. Also burned him very bad. He was horribly misfigured. A lot of his skin was melted. His hair was melted. So like those spikes sticking up on his head, his hair melted that way. Now, he fell on the ground, grabbed the stick, and hit the bell. So this character in game has this bell. You have to ring this bell, and then you can go invisible. Then when you're invisible, you're twice as fast, but you can't attack in your invisibility form. So you get up on somebody and you ring your bell to get out of invisibility, and then you hit them and attack them.
Interesting.
And that's how he operates.
Okay. So how many paranormal entities do we have?
2. Technically 3, because the Oni would be considered paranormal even though he's a demon. So 3 paranormal entities.
Okay. Out of how many killers?
25.
Okay, so they're really leaning into people are the bad guys, not...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
So yeah, this is our buddy the Wraith. Kind of like an overall look, nothing too crazy. Pretty basic, pretty simple. He does have some really cool skins. This one probably being my favorite, where he's a candle. It's pretty great. Still creepy as shit, but pretty great.
Yeah, it's the head tilt and the glowing eyes that kind of makes that a little wiggity.
So that's kind of more of like from his homeland.
That one's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really done well. Another one. Man, he's got some badass fucking... And this has got like crushed license plates and shit on it.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It's dope. Yeah. His whole like kind of Phantom of the Opera skin going on here. The half face.
Yeah.
The bleeding heart coming out of the edge of his weapon.
Also cool. I didn't notice that. Ickadoo.
Yeah. This one I like a lot.
That one's
I like
cool.
A lot of foresty type shit. So this is like right up my
alley.
alley.
You like your medieval shit.
I do. Another pretty fucking awesome looking one. They do a lot of really good like work on his face in a lot of his outfits, which I really appreciate. Even though I don't play him anymore. Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. And then his last one, which is basically just a mock-up of all the other ones below it.
Can you do the one right before this again?
Yeah.
He just looks way more like a burn victim in this one.
Yeah, his like whole left side of his face is completely gone. He's only got the one eye.
Yeah.
I like the weapon too. So, but his other weapon is definitely better for sure.
And this one also
skull on the thing
gets across like he was a malnourished kid and stuff like that. Like you can see that in his legs and stuff. Like that one feels like true to lore, you know?
Yep. And that could possibly be the camouflage pants from his fucking burn victims. Could have took them off, made it into a cape. Just got like the black burns and stuff on it.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Gee. Oof. All right. Who do we have next?
All right. Moving on. Next, we have the Hillbilly. Woo, woo. This guy. Oh, man. If you've ever seen a fucking Alabama fever dream, here you go.
I mean, I've played a couple hours of Resident Evil, so...
That's true. So, we have Max Thompson Jr., a most terrible man to behold. His physique is all twisted and disfigured as of by some awful accident. He carries a deadly and cruel chainsaw, which he wields with devastating violence. seemingly imbuing him with a superhuman speed for a while. His advantage is also a weakness, as the loud noise can give away his position. So I have tried to heighten my sense of sound, honing in on any sound that is not stemming from nature. Stemming from nature. Not as good as the other ones, but this character is kind of a throwaway character in my opinion. Anyways, so the son of wealthy landowners, Max Thompson Sr. and Evelyn Thompson, this unnamed boy was an unwanted child born to savage parents. Hideously disfigured, he was shut away from society. So ashamed of their son, they bricked him off into a room and fed him through a hole in the wall. When the boy escaped, he took his revenge savagely and terribly, slaughtering the parents that had tortured him instead of raising him.
Yeah.
After the deed was done, he continued to live his life at the farm, taking out his deranged violence on the animals that were allowed to run free. As he finally broke free from his shackles, he ran through the cornfields, chasing and slaughtering whatever he could find. They never found the bodies of Max and Evelyn, but they did find tortured and disemboweled animals all over the farm.
All
Cold
right.
Wind Farm was quickly settled and the land split up and sold off. There was never a buyer for the farmhouse. Perhaps it was the sound of the chainsaw you could hear through those hot summer nights.
Oh, boy! So he ate his
Yeah.
parents. His parents suck.
Which is funny because the other chainsaw character in this game is actually called the Cannibal. So
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, their bodies weren't found. There's only so much, and if he's disemboweling the animals and leaving them, you gotta eat something.
Gotta eat something. So, with that being said, as you can see, we have two weapons here. We have a one-handed chainsaw, and we also have a pretty decent-sized fucking made-up sledge-type, hammer-type tenderizer thing going on there. You will see the twisted features that he was talking about. This was basically how he was born, because I did actually watch his lore video. This is how he was born. He's always looked like this with this hunch and all his hair growing everywhere and this covering his eyes. So yeah, he was hideously disfigured, and his parents did not want him to begin with, so it was easy for them to just keep him bricked off into the basement. A little bit more about his lore without going too crazy into it. His dad would actually bring him out from time to time as a kid and force him to slaughter animals with the cops nearby, so that way everybody could laugh and make fun of him as he was doing it and call him a freak.
What? So his dad freak showed his son?
Yep.
Oh my god.
And
PSA.
in the actual story, what?
Nope, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in the actual story, he also kills all of the cops and the sheriff as well.
Yep, I can understand why. PSA to everybody. If your child is born deformed, fucking love them anyway. Like,
thank you.
Be a parent to them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God.
This dude could have cured cancer.
Yeah.
Probably not, but this dude could have cured cancer.
But he might have.
He might have. So, yeah. So, this is the Hillbilly. Like I said, not too much going on here. So, the reason why we're going to talk about his chainsaw for a second here is his normal hit is just swinging the hammer. But his secondary move, because some killers have a secondary move, his secondary move is revving up the chainsaw. So, kind of like the race ringing the bell, is revving up the chainsaw. And he has a little momentum when he's doing this, as far as being able to move left or right, but basically just straight. He can literally dash all the way across the field.
Oh,
super fast. And if he hits you, it's an automatic down.
That makes sense.
Automatic. From healthy to dying. Yep.
Also, a one-handed chainsaw does not seem like a great design, but please continue.
Yeah, for sure. With that being said, a reason why a lot of people like to play this guy is because if you aren't good at the game and you're not good as a killer, and it gets down to the fact where they have the doors to open, because there's always 2 doors on every map, this guy can run back and forth between doors really quickly while you're trying to get that power lever going and stuff like that. So it makes it really hard to go against. You basically almost indefinitely have to have somebody trying to play decoy and bait while everybody else gets the doors open, and then hopefully you make it out as well.
Okay.
That being said, I'm actually kind of glad that this guy finally has one, because the other two didn't. So what you're seeing here, the orange glowing stuff, is called the Blight. A lot of characters have a Blight skin. The Blight happens every October. So for this October as well, there will be a Halloween festival that happens the entire month of October, where these orange flowers grow and they're pussing and stuff like that. Apparently, they're a parasite and a blight that grows in and on the entity.
Huh.
So once again, very little information, but that's where a lot of different people get like theories about, like, if we are seeing these killers and their weapons, as you can see in his hammer, being imbued with blight, could some of these killers actually use that to hardcore damage the entity? Or could the survivors find a way to concoct something to be able to damage the entity with this blight?
Well, yeah, because if it grows in and on the entity, there are parasitic relationships that are deeply bad. We all know the stories of the ants that that get driven, basically zombified and then driven. That's a fungus. Hey. Also, they found that fungus that do that to mammals, by the way. So there's now one. It's only small mammals at this point, but don't go sniffing the forest floor if you don't have to. But not all parasitic relationships are crazy bad, and you may be able to live an entirely full normal life, and there's actually benefits, like fungus on tree roots are often very beneficial. And so the question with the blight would be, is this hurting the entity, or is this the entity's way of propagating itself?
Yeah.
I mean, is that an idea that's been thrown out as...
We do know that it hurts the entity.
Okay, so we already know
the
that.
actual juices, this itself does actually hurt the entity. And as you can kind of see on his back there, he's been injected with it.
Oh my eepadoo. Okay. And nobody's taking the blight on the weapons as a sign that these killers have already fought with the entity.
Right, correct.
Okay.
That the only person that we have any kind of documentation, and it's if you play Dead by Daylight on your phone, the loading screen for a little bit of time actually showed the entity claws coming at the trapper as he was like swinging back and falling backwards away from it.
Okay,
that's
so
all we've ever gotten from killer
evidence
versus entity.
Got it.
And as you saw, the trapper did not have a blight skin, so
nope.
Not saying he won't get one, but this Halloween could be him. We'll see. So we got some more hillbilly-ish type clothing, obviously. Oof. Really, Ajimo boys. Yeah, those guys. Got another burned up / deformed skin, because you can see the embers coming off the pants here. Looks like he's got a fuel tank on his back that is constantly dripping. That's not smart.
That's not a good place for that.
With a whatever this is and a fuse lit on it. So yeah, there's that. Sorry, this is a character I don't care about. Let's go. Hey, look at that. This is the perfect camp counselor. Yeah, look at that. He got his badges. Yeah. Shouldn't this do that to find Bigfoot? Let's go.
And he's got the sheriff's badge.
He's got the sheriff's badge. Look at that. Good call, Kelsey. Good call. See, you're listening. Summertime. Why not? You know? Oh, look, you can see the fresh maggots moving around on that too. There you go. That's great.
Ooh.
Nice little horse leg.
Ugh.
Yeah. You know?
I'm going to lean out of the way so other people can see the maggots.
Flip-flops. Yeah, look at the maggots right there. All the maggots.
They're doing...
Anyways.
Here.
Look at all
biker
the bunnies.
Wow. Disemboweled bunnies.
Yeah.
Yay.
And they move.
Oh, wiggly disemboweled bunnies. Yay.
Oh, look, he's got little bunny skulls as his cowboy boot tips.
Oh, my.
He really hates rabbits in the skin.
I was going to say, he's really decorating for Easter.
Rabbit season. Yeah, it's called rabbit season. Is the skin.
Yeah, that.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And then, yeah, the last two of his skins before we get to the ones that are just constant variations is his lumberjack looking skin here.
Cool.
And yeah, some of those little raccoon
Paul
hat.
Bunyan. Yep.
Paul Bunyan. There you go. And then, yeah, his normal outfit, and then all the different variations of that. So yeah, that's the hillbilly. Moving on.
Please.
The Nurse. Yes, we are at The Nurse. Let me actually do... because this is what she normally looks like. Kind
I
of
was
more
going to say,
white
yeah.
to match in. But this is The Nurse. This is JJ's favorite killer at the moment. She's pretty good. She can teleport a small distance, but she can also immediately teleport right back to the exact same spot. So a lot of people who play the nurse will use it to teleport whenever someone's jumping over a pallet. They'll teleport from one side of the pallet to the other, which will make the person turn around, freak out, and jump the pallet, and then they'll snap back, teleport, and be waiting for them on the other side. Because once you're jumping the pallet, you're in an animation. You can't stop midway. You have to get off on the other side, then turn around and jump back. Unfortunately for JJ, I figured that out too quickly, so his back teleport doesn't work the way he wishes it does.
Yeah.
Against me, at least. But this is the nurse. Either way, super good character. Like her a lot. We'll get into her lore first, and then we'll kind of jump through some of her outfits, which she has some really, really cool ones, unlike the last person that we were just doing. So her name is Sally Smithson. A new varmint has entered the arena. I spotted her as she somehow moved through a wall, clad in bandages, and tell an untold tale of something horrid. This nurse, as it seems, brings me new angst during my lonely nights as my mind runs amok. So another short one. Some of the older ones, I feel like we're probably going to get that haven't got a chance to get renew ones yet. But I'm sure they'll step it up when they go to do the renews on some of these characters.
God, when you were reading that and it was, brings me new angst. Like, she had her arms up, was just like gently swaying back and forth. She brings me new angst in the nights, and she's just like, having a rave by herself.
Yep, and this is one of the characters that actually do hover. There's not a lot of characters that hover. I think she actually might be the only one that hovers. So it's kind of cool. Sally Smithson came to town with dreams of children's feet and laughter in a wooden home built by her husband, Andrew. Okay. But life came not with smiles, but with plans of destruction. Andrew worked as a lumberjack, a job with its perils. One day, Andrew's foreman had to pay Sally a visit, forever changing her life. She was alone. Without food on the table and no other option, Sally had to find a way, but the only employment she could get was at a Crotus Prin asylum. Nobody sought employment there unless they were in dire need, just like Sally. Without any education, she started at the bottom doing the hard night shift. Over the years, her mind had reached its limits. 2 decades of seeing horrid things that violate the eyes. Memories that are replayed every single night. Being abused verbally and physically by the people without limits. Sally saw insanity from the outside just to catch it herself. Finally, she could not take it anymore, and concepts of purification emerged inside of her. She did what she felt was necessary. As the morning staff arrived one day in September, they found over 50 dead patients, lifeless in their bed, among 4 staff members also dead. All right. Only Sally had survived that night, but her mind was gone, rocking back and forth nonstop. Exactly what happened is only known by her, but it seems that some of them had been choked as they had marks around their necks. They got her into an ambulance, but the ambulance never reached the hospital. It was found crashed in a nearby wood, all the staff dead, and Sally nowhere to be found.
Holy shit. Okay, so she went all Angel of Death after a lot of desperate torment. Yeah, torment's a good word. I was going to say torture. Torture's not the right term. Is she also is she also basically dead because she floats?
So that's the weird one. So they only say 2 paranormals.
Paranormal.
I don't think she's actually been classified as one, but she is one. Let's be honest. She floats. She is one. She's not the third one I was talking about. So technically there would be 4 because we haven't got to the Oni yet.
Got it.
So she has a blight skin, which I think looks really cool. As you can see, she is all blighted up. You can see some of the
shit.
Yeah, you can see some of the hooks and claws coming out. So this stuff right here kind of grows on the flowers as well. I wish it was the Halloween event already and I would show them to you, but we're recording this for October, so it's not there yet. But we're getting the injection right here. You can see it kind of puffing up. We do have one character that's called the Blight. He is newer, and yeah, he's all blighted up and uses the Blight as a move, but we'll get to him when we get to him.
Ooh.
They just got through doing like a Greek Legends pack where a whole bunch of people had Greek type skins. With the Blight, as we were just talking about, has a really has the best one. His looks badass. But anyways, so we've got the Vengeful Enchantress with her scorpions.
Oh my gosh, and their cool ass meat hook. Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then that left foot, or right foot, is just whatever the fuck that is now. Yep.
Yeah.
We've got the Campu trainee. Whatever the fuck that is. So,
I don't know.
Probably some kind of like needle type therapy is what I'm guessing. That she took it a little too far.
Oof.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, the purple growths on her is kind of gross.
And then we have this lovely radiation gone wrong.
Yeah, where her
Mother Mercy, War is Hell.
I was gonna say where her leg is all gone, basically. Yeesh.
Yeah. I actually like the name of that one though. Mother Mercy.
Oh yeah.
War is Hell.
Oh yeah.
This is the closest we've gotten to seeing what she looked like before she became the
That's
nurse.
heartbreaking. Because like she's beautiful. It's like she wanted a normal life in desperate times. Oh god. I'm glad though that they tell her story the way that they do, because recognizing that people do desperate things when they're desperate and that you can only take so much torment before you become a monster yourself is a human story and is a very common human story for some of our most horrible people. So I'm glad that they're emphasizing that.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. We've got In Sickness and Health, which is another variant of this other kind of wedding-ish type dress almost. We've got Biohazard, which with the whole suction right there really kind of kicks it in for you. Along with, I guess, the plastic bag. I don't know. There's a couple of variants of that one. Ugh. And then, yeah, her final outfit, which is basically a whole bunch of variants of that all the way down to her normal one. And then the head that you guys saw was a special Halloween event, which is how I had that one. So, yeah.
That on the Blight body would be super cool.
Right? Is the Blight body a linked outfit? Because if outfits are linked, you can't take anything off. Nope, it's not. So I could go to body. There you go. Boom.
Neat.
Nope, just like that. So some outfits are linked, and they'll have like a small little diamond with a line through it and another diamond right here. That means that you can't take the outfits apart. You can't mix and match. All the other ones you can. And with the killers, you can do their head, their body, and their weapon. With the survivors, I think it's head, tops, and bottoms. Yeah, that's what it is for the survivors. Heads, tops, and bottoms. Sweet. Okay. And let's see where we're at. I think we can go ahead and end that there.
And that there? So that's... Now, are all 20-something killers available all the time?
No. Okay. You can only get a certain amount. I have all of them because I love the game, and I have all the survivors as well. So we'll be able to go through and see every single one of them. If I didn't have them, we wouldn't be able to look into them as in-depth as I am right now.
In-depth as we do? Okay, so we went through about 5 of them.
Yeah.
If you, as our lovely community member, want him to go through specific ones, or
and do real hardcore lore,
like, let us know. We're happy to do that. I'm genuinely interested. Like, this is cool. I want to see more of this. And so I'm willing, but we have to know that you actually want to watch it and you'd be willing, because we want to make content you want to watch. So, with that in mind, please like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you want to see so we can make it happen. We have merch links, we have Twitter links, we have Twitch links. You know all of this because you hear it all the time. We will see you guys in the next class of Dead Funny University. Bye, friends.